Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Says the Haley Gemara. Leikrivu keves baboiker. Amar Rabbi Shimon, Mukulo is a kriva ben arbaim she'im mechanchem is mizbach hazov elo b'ktaris hasamim. So Rabbi Shimon is the one that says that if you don't bring the ktaris in the morning, and you're supposed to bring ktaris in the afternoon, but not only the ktaris of the afternoon, you bring it all. You bring the morning ktaris, the afternoon ktaris, you bring it all together in one shot. Whereas when it comes to the karbanos, if you don't bring the carbon tamid in the morning, and it's afternoon time, you don't bring the morning one. Says the Gemara that the Mishnah goes on to say that the way you're mechanach the mizbeach hazav, this is the mizbeach hazav, right? To remind the olam, it's beautiful. I don't even know if I showed this in the Hebrew, or the movement. I don't know. The movement I didn't show. But the mizbeach hazav was in the heichal. That's the one that you put the ktaris on twice a day, in the morning and the evening. The chinuch, meaning the very, very first time that it became kadosh, it became a chunuch. Rabbi said we're holding chinuch mandikar shmei. The Mishnah, when discussing the ktaris, Reb Shimon says, when they first inaugurated chinuch, the inauguration of the mizbeach hazav happened in the evening with the ktaris. The menorah happened in the evening with all the neiros. The mizbeach hachitzot happened in the morning when they brought the. But who's talking about inauguration? Chinuch mandikar shmei. Says the Gemara Chesuri Mechser V'Achatani. You're right. We forgot to explain. There's a few words missing from the Mishnah. Once you get these words, you'll understand why it fits into the Mishnah. Lo yikrivu keves baboiker, lo yikrivu ben arbaim. If, and we're going to see in a second, was it on purpose, not on purpose, but they didn't bring the carbon tamid in the morning. Lo yikrivu ben arbaim. This is mamish. Rabbi said this is mamish, the musagim, the musag of Daf Yomi. When is it the halacha that if you don't bring the carbon tamid in the morning, you don't bring it in the evening? When they never started b'chlal, it was day number one. There was no chinuch of the mizbeach. Why? Because the pasuk, the very, very famous pasuk, the pasuk of Daf Yomi. Let's call it the pasuk of Daf Yomi. Especially our shir. We have a shir in the morning, shir in the evening. When could you bring the keves hasheni taseh ben arbaim? When you have a keves achot taseh baboiker. First you need to do the morning. You have the morning, you do the evening. I'm not going to say any Torah about Daf Yomi because in Daf Yomi it doesn't work like that. If you don't do the morning, you do the evening. But over here the pasuk says you can't do the evening unless you have the morning. But that's the first day on the chinuch. Oh, it does work with Daf Yomi on the first day. But from then on, it's not like that. Once the mizbeach is operating, so if you didn't do the one in the morning, you can do the one in the evening. This is only in a situation when the kayin was a oinus. It was a mistake. If you did it deliberately, if you did it deliberately, then we punish him. We say, since you didn't do it in the morning, you can't do it in the evening. But when it comes to ktares, it's different. There's no punishment when it comes to ktares. So it's not f'kemina. If it was b'mezid, they don't get to bring it again. But if it was b'shoigig, yes. How do you know that the chinuch of the mizbeach only happened in the morning? The Tanur Rabbanon ves hakeves hasheni taseh ben arbaim. Again, we're trying to find out that where do you see that the chinuch HaMizbeach happened only in the morning. Rashi says that we're using another pasuk. This is not the pasuk that we used before. He says, this is a pasuk, Ve'es HaKeves HaSheni, that doesn't have the Keves HaRishon. He says, the pasuk doesn't even discuss the Rishon. And Memela, you see from here, that without the, I don't know why, for some reason, we're not using the first one. It's without the Rishon, you don't have a Sheni. It goes directly to the Sheni. It's a Keves HaSheni, Tasi ben Arbaim. Sheni ben Arbaim, below Rishon ben Arbaim. You see that the pasuk never mentioned Rishon. If the pasuk would have mentioned Rishon, maybe Chinuch could be in the beginning. No. Sheni ben Arbaim, below Rishon ben Arbaim. Menachos. The Tanah Rabbanim V'Sakeves Hasheni Taseh B'Arbaim. This is the first pasuk. You're right, 100%. I even wrote it in my Gemara. Doesn't help. Here, this pasuk. Bad. Shmois. Shmois Chavtas. Sheni Ben Arbaim V'Leirishim Ben Arbaim. Okay, very good. So you need V'Sakeves Hasheni Taseh Ben Arbaim. Sheni Ben Arbaim V'Leirishim Ben Arbaim. You only bring the second one Ben Arbaim, not the first one. That's if there's no Chinuch HaMizbeach. But if there was, if this is already operating, did we learn this before maybe? No. But if there was, if the Mizbeach is operational, then you can do, and you missed the first one, then you can bring the first one in the afternoon. And that's where he brings the second pasuk. Let's see. Okay, why does the second pasuk help us? This is without, you don't need the first one. In this pasuk, you don't need the first one. You hear? This pasuk just talks about the second one. So we don't need the first one. The first one is not ma'akev. So if you already got to the arba'im, you could bring the first one. There's no equal. If the pasuk would have said the first one as and then the so first you have to do one, then you get to two. Over here, we jump straight to two, meaning that if you forgot the first one, you could bring the first one in the afternoon. I thought we did this. We did do it. It's the same words. Same words. Yeah, same words. Okay. If it was deliberate, you cannot bring the second, the one that you missed. Like but when Ktaris is different, now the Gemara goes into why is Ktaris different than a carbon. Just because one Meshugana, a Rasha, he does something against the halacha and he doesn't bring a carbon in the morning, so that's why Klal Yisrael has to suffer and there's not going to be a carbon tamid that day. Now, there's a Kayan who's a bad guy who didn't bring the carbon. So he is not going to bring the carbon in the afternoon, but others will. But it doesn't say who. Look at the lashon. What does hain mean? Oh, the same mishmar. The entire mishmar is punished. Collective punishment. The whole class gets punished if one kid does something wrong. But not all koyanim. You go to the next mishmar, and they could bring the carbon that was missed. If you didn't bring the ktaris in the morning, bring it in the afternoon. The kivan do shchicha, ktaris is not shchiach. So one of the pshatim in Rashi is he brings the Gemara in Yuma. The Gemara in Yuma says an amazing thing, that a kohen never brought ktaris twice in his lifetime. A kohen could only bring it once in his entire life. So it's very, very not common. He's not going to mess it up. And also, this is what everybody knows, ume'atra, and it makes you wealthy. So people like it. Money. It's a gula. So they're not going to. And when people there's no concern that people are going to be posheya. There's no reason to make a knas. You could take both portions of Ktaris and put it on the Mizbech Hazav in the afternoon. Let me show you this pasuk. It says in the pasuk, and everybody knows these psukim, in Zois HaBracha, Yosimu Ktair Ba'apecha, the Ktaris Ba'apecha, Baruch Hashem Chayla, and right afterwards, the next pasuk, Hashem will give you a bracha. There's a video here, but you guys don't want to see it, right? Forget it. We have too many videos today. So when the Mishnah says that the inauguration of the Mizbech Hazav happened in the afternoon, as the Gemara happened in the morning. Tanoi, it's actually Machalis Tanoi when the inauguration happened. Did it happen in the morning or the evening? It seems like it happened in the evening. That, hold on, I need to show you this two psukim here. Very, very important to understand the. Ooh, how come I don't? Okay, no. Oh, here this one. It says like this: Victor Torah Sam, talking about Torahs, in the morning. So when did he? From this pasuk, it almost seems like that it happened in the morning. Torah Samim, Beheitiva means when you clean out the menorah. So the Gemara says like this: when you clean out the menorah, ilav David adlaka meurta. Why are you cleaning out the menorah in the morning? It must mean that you lit it at night. Ilav David adlaka meurta hatav b'tzavr mehecha. Okay, so once I get that piece number one is to know that l'chayra, the lighting of the menorah is at night because you're cleaning it out in the morning. Then we go to the next pasuk ches. The pasuk says "V'haloi sarenis haneros ben harabayim yaktireno k'toyres tamid l'fnei Hashem." In other words, so like two pieces here. I'm not exactly sure why we need both pieces, but in this pasuk it says that the k'toyres happened when you light the menorah, and we figured out that we light the menorah in the evening because when you clean it out in the morning. It says before in this pasuk sort of "V'haloi sarenis haneros ben harabayim." So maybe I wasn't sure that it means to light it. I know for sure that it means to light it because you have to clean it out in the morning. If you clean it out in the morning, that means you lit it at night. And in this pasuk it says, Yaktireni, you should do the Ktaris at the same time, which means at night. Mimela. Oh. So that's the inauguration of the Ktaris happened in the evening, not in the morning. And what about the Mandam that argues? It says the inauguration happened in the morning. Yeah. Yeah, but why do I need Pasuk Zayin? Well, it's Aaron is Haneros, Ben Arbam Yaktireno. You do Ktaris. But that doesn't mean that. But the Gemara even says, Ilav David had luck. The Gemara goes into the whole thing. What? The Gemara says, Ilav David had luck and Mu'urtov. Not for the fact. It goes to this whole. When it comes to the chinuch of the mizbeach, the outside mizbeach achitza, when we bring all the korbanos, that happened in the morning, the first tamid. So too, the k'tayros happened in the morning. Next, how do you inaugurate the shulchan? With the lechem hapanim. We don't have a picture of the shulchan. No, not today. Elo, so the Gemara is medayik. Elo b'choli chanucha Yehuda. Let me just say about that. How else could you be mechanech the shulchan? How can you be mechanech a shulchan? You have a table. How does it become kaddish? How? It has to be b'lechem hapanim. So, don't they go hand in hand? In other words, it's mashma that the chinuch of it became kadosh on Shabbos through the bread. It seems like that you could be mekadosh the bread on the weekday. That you could put the bread into the shulchan on the weekday. Otherwise, why in the world does the Mishnah say that the chinuch happens on Shabbos? It's obvious. If the only day of the week that you could put the bread onto the shulchan is Shabbos, so that's the only day that it became mechunach, through the bread. If I knew that the only day you could light a menorah is on Hanukkah, let's say, so I don't need the Mishnah to tell me that the only time to be mechanech the menorah is on Hanukkah. I know the only time, obviously you can't light the menorah on Purim. If the only time to put the bread into the shulchan is on a Shabbos, so the only time you get mechunach is on Shabbos. The only time you could be mekadosh is on Shabbos. Higufa kamashma. That's exactly what we want to tell you. The chinuch, the kiddush the shulchan b'Shabbosu, that the way it became mechunach is through the bread, and the lechem hapanim could only be on Shabbos. And Mimela, it goes hand in hand. That's what we want to tell you. You cannot put the lechem hapanim. I don't like calling it bread. The lechem hapanim you can't put in. Hebrew lechem means bread, but it doesn't sound kaddish enough. The lechem hapanim doesn't go into the shulchan on a weekday, because if it did go on the shulchan on a weekday, then it could be mekudesh on a weekday. The reason why the lechem hapanim could only become kaddish on a Shabbos, it could only be inaugurated on Shabbos, because the lechem hapanim only goes into the shulchan on Shabbos. You don't say And that's what we also learned. So the Gemara makes this thing. The menorah, there's no other time to light the menorah, only in the evening. So what else could it be? The Gemara is telling us that it goes hand in hand. When you light the candles, that's when it becomes mechunach. When you put the bread in, then it becomes kadosh, and it's on a Shabbos. And for the menorah, it's in the evening. Torah Rabbanan. So the Gemara says it's an interesting line. It's a statement, one of these riddles. There was one time in history where the Ketairos was brought not on the Mizbech Hazav, where we always bring it in the Eichel, rather on the Mizbech that you bring the Oila and the Shlamim and all the other Korbanos. One time, somebody brought Ketairos on that Mizbech. But it was a very special thing, it was a Rasha, it was an exception to the rule. When was it? Heicha. So we have a thing. One time in history, an individual brought Ketairos on the Mizbech, which means the Nasim, each one individually brought the Ketairos as a gift to HaKadosh Baruch Hu on the Mizbech HaChitzon. So the Gemara is medayik, El Yachid on Mizbech HaChitzon Udloi, on Mizbech HaPnimi Makriv. It's like a one-time thing that he brought it, which is actually strange. They brought it on the giant Mizbech what? El Yachid on Mizbech HaChitzon Udloi, on Mizbech HaPnimi Makriv. That was an exception to the rule that they brought it on the outside Mizbech, but in the inside Mizbech, maybe a Yachid could bring. And then you can make another deal. Perhaps the Tzibur could bring Ketairos as a communal gift to HaKadosh Baruch Hu on the Mizbech HaChitzon. But that can't be, so the Gemara just brings a brayso that's also for Yachid and the Tzibur. But at the end of the day, we have a diuk from here that they could. It says the one time, it was a one-time thing on the outside one. Mashma, that the inside one, a Yachid could bring. So what do we do? But Tanya, it says you can't. I would think that a Yachid could bring in a dove of a karani, and I'm going to say the pasuk that when you make a shvur, you're going to bring a gift, you have to keep it. You're not going to bring on a dove of Ketairos. Only what the Torah tells you. Maybe, okay, individual can't bring a private Ketairos. Because we don't find anywhere else in the Torah that a Yachid could do that. Maybe, but maybe a whole community could bring Ketairos as a gift to Hashem. Because you see that the Tzibur does bring every single day Ketairos. It's a Lashon Rabbim, the community cannot bring Ketairos. Perhaps the loyalu, lisalu means on the inner mizbech, the normal mizbech for Ketairos. Perhaps the community could bring it on the outer mizbech. Exactly the way I commanded you. Don't do anything extra. You could only do what I commanded you to do. That is to bring twice a day Ketairos. Don't bring any more, even if you're the community. Zog the Gemara. Oh, so we have a diuk that a Yachid could bring in the inner mizbech and the tzibur could bring on the outer mizbech. What do we do? Even though we just learned that you can. The way you medayik it is as follows. Of course, the community cannot bring extra Ketairos. And we never found anywhere that an individual could bring Ketairos like a kohen does on a daily basis. Perhaps you want to mimic what the Nasim did. The Nasim brought Ketairos on the outer Mizbech, so you too, in 2026, you're going to decide, I'm like a Nasi, I'm going to bring Ketairos on the outer Mizbech. On that, we say, no, impossible, it's not going to work. Easy stuff now. I got it. There's a rule that the Kohen Gadol brings a mincha every single day, half in the morning, half in the evening. He brings an isarin of flour from home, and he divides it every single day, twice a day, one in the morning, one in the evening. But it has to be lo yoyu b'yom chatzayim. You cannot go home and bring half. You have to bring the whole shear of an isarin and divide it. So let me ask you a question. Let's say we know that 300 kehanim, gdoilim, died in the second bayis. In 400 years, for something, for 20, 300 died. In other words, it's very possible that a Kohen Gadol brought his mincha in the morning, and then he died. So the Kohen Gadol that takes over that day, what is he supposed to do? What does he bring? A half, 2 halves, 0, what does he bring? Because we just said that the Kohen Gadol cannot bring a half a shear from home. He has to bring the whole shear. Now half was already given. So now what does he do? So that's what the Mishnah is going to discuss. But this is a solid rule. We're not going to break this rule. The rule is you cannot bring halves from home. Bring the whole. It's heavy. Weighs 5 pounds. If you have to carry 5 pounds for 2 miles, it's very heavy. It's a lot easier to carry 2.5 pounds and go back home and come back again. No. You can bring a full amount. You have to bring a full amount, and you chop it in half in the morning, half in the evening. He makes 6 breads out of it each time, and he throws the breads onto the mizbech. I'll show you a video in a second. If he's a kohen that brought a half in the morning and then he dies, and they appointed a second kohen gadol instead of him. Do not bring a half of Yisarim from your house and the half of Yisarim of the first one. He has to bring a whole Yisarim, and he divides it. He only puts half of it on the mizbech, and the other half goes 5. You have to burn it. The first half of the kohen gadol that was nifter has to be burnt. The second half of the new kohen gadol has to be burnt. So 2 halves are brought, 2 halves are burnt. Easy Gemara now, so we have to move. It's almost repetitive. If he would have said the words mincha machzis, mincha half, so bring half from home. Then he goes home and he brings another half. Machatzisa means from it, a half from it. So you have to start off with the whole. Okay, it's that. Maybe it's you bring the entire amount and you divide it. And you makriv half in the morning, half in the evening. What if the second half becomes Tomei? Now what do you do? Maybe you should go home and bring a half. Maybe you always have the full amount and you divide it. So you have to go home, bring the full amount, divide it. Okay, so maybe and he's makriv the second half that he wasn't makriv yet, but now he's left over with the whole half. Avad, you have to burn it. Comes out that he was makriv the right amount, and 2 halves are lost. One became tamei, and the second half that he went home and brought the whole amount, that second half also has to be burned. Kohen Gadol shikriv mechza shachris v'meis. Kohen Gadol dies. We appointed somebody else instead of him. Maybe you should use the original Kohen Gadol's half. He has to bring a whole amount, and he's makriv half. Okay, so maybe he divides it, and he's makriv it, and half goes to waste. No chidushim here, right? Chazarah. As we saw in the video, you take both halves and you put them in the fire. I understand that the first Kohen Gadol, he brought 2 halves. One he put on the mizbech, the second one he was about to put on the mizbech, then he died. So since it was right to be put on the mizbech, so now it became possible because he's dead. So now it's possible. You can't bring it on. It's possible. So I understand why something that's possible you have to burn. Actually, maybe not. Maybe the first one, the Gemara is asking no. The first one is not possible. Why is it possible? It was right to go on the mizbech. It's not possible. The second one, the second kohen, when he brings a whole amount, and he knows to begin with that half is not going to be good, that's possible. You already have it, so I don't need to wait for Selina. Yeah, right. It's possible right now. So if it's possible right now, why do you have to leave it overnight? Libu kasi, mikar libu kasi. Says Gemara Damal Chumani, who said that you need to leave it over? Tana the Rabbi Baravu. That's his shita, Rabbi Baravu. The Amar Afilu Pigotan Ibur Tzura. So he says, even if you have the bad kavana, you made a certain carbon puzzle, you have to wait overnight to put it on the mizbeach. So you see that even if something's puzzle, you have to wait overnight. So tu baya, what? I said, what did I say? I said, put it on. No. You have to wait overnight in order to burn it, not to put it on the mizbeach. Chas v'shalom. I really said that? For real? Wow. I would not even though I said it and you tell me I said it, I don't have any recollection of it. Wow. Gewaldig. Somebody made pigel. Pigel is a terrible psul. You could die if you eat it. V'chulu. So you think it's possible. It's possible. Burn it right now. No, you can't burn it right now on the basis of Reifah. You have to wait overnight and burn it. So Mamela, the same thing with our flour. It might be possible, but you have to wait overnight. Flour is certainly not as possible as pigel. Pigel is much more chomer. Okay. You could say that goes according to Rabbanon that pigel, you don't have to wait overnight. You can burn it immediately on the basis of Reifa. Even the Be'idna, the Balgino, Ibai Haimakr, Ibai Haimakr. When the Kain, the second Kain Gadol, divides his flour in half, he has a choice. He can use the one on the right, the one on the left. So Mamela, since they're both available to be put on the Mizbech, they don't have a psul. It doesn't have a psul. So in order to burn it, you have to wait overnight and then get a psul. Itmar. How do you make, in other words, let me explain the question. The question is that in the pasuk there seems to be a contradiction. First it says al machvas. Machvas means you bake it. Murbeches teviena means that you put it in water. Chalita. You put it in water. And then it says tufine. Tufine means, we're going to see that it's somewhat in oil. Here, let me just show you in the pictures, it would look something like this. Machvas is the one on top left corner, which is in the oven. You're baking it. Murbeches teviena means chalita and water. Tufine is a little bit of oil. So how do we get around all these things? So in Mela, we know they have to do all these processes. But which one comes first? Is machvas first and then tufine, oil, or is it the opposite? So we have a machlokes. Actually, we have a three-way machlokes. How could it be three-way machlokes? It's either you bake it and then oil, or you deep fry it, or you deep fry it and then bake it. And what's the third option? Bake, fry, bake. I saw you also knew it. Bake, fry, bake. Itmar. Chavita going to go to Kate Noison. Rabbi Yochanan, he says in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, first you bake, then you fry. Basi Omar Rabbi Chanina, he says in the name of Rabbi Chanina, deep fry, then bake. Or Rabbi Rabbi Kabal say the dimistabro. Or Rabbi Rabbi Kabal say the dimistabro. Says Rabbi Rabbi that I'm right. That what? First you bake, then you deep fry. Tufine, look at the word tufine, which is a super interesting word. Tefena, no. In other words, if you were to deep fry it first, it'd get a very dark color, not a nice color. So what do? First you bake it. You take the baked good, there's nothing, it's like a donut, taking a donut, putting into the, first you have to bake it a little bit, then you throw it into a bunch of oil, it comes like a schmack. I don't know if they do it like that, but it sounds good. They don't do it like that. Some places do. Ravasi Omar, says Ravasi, no, first you deep fry it. Why? That when you bake it, it should already be slightly, how do you call it? It's like you finish. No, it's to finish up. Like sometimes they sell you stuff that's like half done and you throw it in. Here, it should be deep fried, sort of, and then you throw it into the oven and you bake it. Says Gemara Ketanoi. It's Machlokes Tanoi. Here we go all through all three shitas. Tufine, tefenena. You should first deep fry it a little bit so that when you bake it, it should be rare. No, rare. Rabbi Yomi raw. not raw 100%, but rear. Rebbe Oimer Tefena Na, you should make it nice, not na, not rear, Meloshin rear, na, pretty, nice. So how do you make it nice? First you bake it, then you deep fry it. It's mamish beautiful. And finally, the third sheet that we didn't see yet, Rabbi Yossi Oimer Tefena Rabba, you should bake it twice. In other words, bake, deep fry, bake. Islay na, vislay na. Like this, you first, you bake it. So when you bake it first, so you're gonna have na. It's gonna be nice when you put it into the deep fry. It's also gonna be, hold on, where are you going? Oh. And you're also, I thought you stopped shearing. And also, it's going to be slightly cooked, undercooked, before you put it into the oven for the second time. It's not awesome. We have a minute or two? It's not awesome. Everything you do with this mincha of the Kohen Gadol, whether you're kneading it, or braiding it, or baking it, everything has to take place in the Azara. Here's the big chiddush. V'doiches is a Shabbos. So that's the sugya. We're going to go do a little bit today, most of it, and the rest tomorrow. It's doiches Shabbos. You can do this on Shabbos. You can bake it on Shabbos. You know what I mean? How do I know that you can push it off? Shabbos is pushed off. You don't have to bake it on Friday. It has to be a nice bread. In Israel, there's a big no-no here in Israel. You can never have second-day-old bread. It doesn't work. Always the fresh bread. Why? Because if you bake it a day earlier, in Ashva, it could blow up a little bit. It's not kishma. So Mela, it's doiches Shabbos. You can put it in the refrigerator. So in those days, I guess they had their little ways of keeping things fresh. They would put it in some vegetables. I don't know what. Kavish. It almost seems like to pickle it. Pickle it in you pickle bread. Preserve. Oh, preserve is the right word. Preserve it in the vegetables. The Be'er B'Shmuel Tana. Teyasa v'afilu b'Shabbos. No, there's a pasuk that says Teyasa. You shall do it. How? Even on Shabbos. Teyasa v'afilu b'Tumah. Even if there's Tumah. Rabbi Sai B'suras Toivas. Have a wonderful day and a meaningful fast. And Yishmak Purim.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDY.com.